everybody, I'm Nick Shepherd, Managing Director of Britcon. I'm delighted to be launching National Apprenticeship Week at our NETA training relocation project in Stockton.
Our partnership with NETA is incredibly important to us. The work we do across the region on major projects, community initiatives and long-term skills development relies on attracting and supporting talented people who want to build their future in construction. And there's no better place to see that ambition first than right here today. I started my own career as a trainee, so I know exactly how valuable real-life experience, guidance and a strong support network can be. Apprenticeships give you the chance to learn by doing, to grow your confidence and to take the steps in a career that can go as far as you wanted to. To anyone considering an apprenticeship, be curious, be driven and be open to learning. This industry can take you wherever you want to go. And finally, as we come to a close of the week, Britcon and some of its supply chain decided to come together and hold its own very little podcast to share experiences between the new people that are joining this industry and the people who have worked their way through an apprenticeship scheme to fulfil the roles that they undertake today. Hi, welcome to our podcast during Apprenticeship Week. I'm Nick Shepherd, Managing Director of Britcon.
Andy Toyne, Construction Director for Britcon.
Matthew Hassick, Senior Engineer for Britcon.
Jacob Hart, Trainee Engineer for Britcon.
David Hunton, Director of Mayville Electrical and Mechanical.
Kirsty MacDonald, Mechanical and Electrical Technical Manager at Mayville.
Zachary Anderson, Electrical Apprentice at Mayville.
So a little bit unusual this for, isn't it, to have just a chat rather than be on site or taking photographs. But Dave, how did you get into the industry?
So many, well, it feels like a long time ago now. Left school, didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I went to a training scheme in Middlesbrough, and I remember I left school in the May, June, and they had an open day in the July. Didn't know what I wanted to do. My dad took me to the open day, and one of the things they had you doing that day was they had offcuts of steel wire arm cable that long, and it was make a gland off. They showed you how to do it, and I made this gland off. I remember looking around the room thinking, I've done it the quickest here, so I must be good at this. So then I thought, right, I like the electrical side of things, but I'm going to go to this training scheme. And your first year you did a bit of all sorts of different engineering, so there was different aspects, welding, electrical, lathes, can't think, CAD drawing, you name it. And then you went out on placements, and I eventually chose the electrical route after the first year and went out on placements. So my first ever placement was ICI main stores, and I was there for 6 months with a maintenance electrician there. And it was probably that grounding of doing maintenance that put me off being a maintenance electrician, because let's say we didn't do a lot. And then eventually I went on a placement to Mayville when I was 18, and did 6 months, worked on commercial projects, installing trunkings and different things, and then cables and armors and you name it, and enjoyed it, loved it. They took me on, luckily, and yeah, worked my way up from the very bottom to nearly 3 years ago getting the chance as a management buyout, and we did that, and yeah, now working harder than ever probably. So,
and I guess, Andy, you've been with Britcon a very, very long time, but started as a trade.
Yeah. Well, similar to Dave's story really. Age of 16, knew I wanted to work in the construction industry. I don't know whether that applies to everybody, but I knew I wanted to work with my hands, and went out, and we used to produce letters and send them to contractors, and that's how you got your job. So I got offered a couple of apprenticeships. In those days it was sort of YTS, where you go to college one day and then be training on site with a skilled tradesman. But yeah, got accepted, so I got offered a bricklaying course, I think the electrician, and because of where I'm from, there was a plumbing company that did, I could go on a trawler in the winter months and be plumbing in the summer, so I was like, not for me that one, and I ended up going down the bricklaying route. So spent 3 years doing an apprenticeship, let's say 1 day a week at college, learning the technical skills, and 4 days on site in different work environments and different places, and learning the skills of the trade really, and fully enjoyed it. And at the age of 19, finished my apprenticeship and went self-employed. So that's sort of my career up to that point, and then the progression that I've made through my skills, knowledge and experiences have brought me up into management position within the Britcon.
So when you went self-employed, was that as buildings yourself, or just as a squad?
As a bricklaying company, but
Right.
2 in 1 gang they used to call it in those days, 2 bricklayers, 1 labourer,
Yeah.
and you got paid for how many bricks you lay.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that's where some of the experiences of where I am now are from, laying bricks basically. So if I want laying bricks, I want earning money. So you needed to coordinate, communicate, make sure your materials were there, because you wouldn't get paid if you weren't laying bricks. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, for me, I didn't do as well as I was expected to do at school. I retook my GCSEs for the second time. Still wasn't what I wanted to do. My grandfather was a bricklayer. My dad was an electrician. When I left school, as much as my grades weren't where I wanted to be, I had an opportunity to be a postman, work in a bank through family contacts, or in construction. And I think for me, these days it's very difficult, but I was on site with my dad when he worked on a Saturday. I'd be playing on site, with building materials, which when you think about it now, but the thing is, it really got me into, applying myself. Construction is just so varied. You work in different places, different situations, and that was a start for me. And I, when I left school, I got an interview with a major regional contractor for an engineer, site engineer, and I went for the interview and I didn't get the job. But what happened was the lady who was head of training, and Gillian, I remember her name to this day, said, "Oh, we've got this job as a planning engineer, training planning engineer." So I said, "Well, what's that?" She said, "Well, you need to go and research it and come away. Go away, do research, come back and see us." And in them days, you had careers libraries. There were no internet. What you had to do was go to the careers library. And I went to Sheffield to do that. And it wasn't there. That job description wasn't there. So I had to speak to my father, who knew somebody else to give me a bit of intel. And that's when I got, my first opportunity as a trainee planner as a school leaver. And for me, having to do an extra year at college on day release to get myself to a position then when I could do an ONC and an HNC. And by Monday to Friday, because money wasn't that good at that stage, I'd be a trainee planner, and then on a Saturday and Sunday, if we were doing an ASDA at the time, Superstore, I was a ganger, so I was leading the gangers to make sure everything was ready for Monday morning, and that gave me skill sets that I don't think sometimes you'll see in some of the further education without having some of that practicality. So I did 7 years there, worked my way up, and my goal was always to get a better car and a bit more money. I never thought I'd be a managing director with not having a degree. And it's hard work, bit of luck, working with the right people. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you work with discipline? And I worked with an Irish site manager where his reading and writing wasn't very good. And what I had to do every night before we left site was write the site diary. And he'd have a piece of cardboard with little matchsticks on with people. He knew exactly where everybody worked. He knew the drawings, the detail. But I would have to stay, whatever time it was, to get that diary done. And it could be 8 o'clock, it could be 4:30, but it had to be done that day. And you progress then, you get a better car, and you see opportunities being advertised, and you take a bit of a punt, on what's that job. Fell into doing design management, Then fell into bid management. Then I got my first opportunity at 30 to become a director of business. And who'd have thought, with that you get to a position that we all are now. And I think what we all have to remember is hard work is really important, and respect. Qualifications are important, but you've got to have that drive.
I think I can echo that, because I left school with very little really, and it was exactly the same as you, and in the point that I remember all my mates at school went to college, and then a lot of them went to universities and different things, and for me, I just set about exactly the same. I wanted money in my pocket, but I knew I was prepared to work hard, and all I've ever been is committed, loyal, hard working, and I think it pays off, massively pays off. So for anyone out there who right now thinks they can't get to somewhere, I think if you can work hard enough to get onto an apprenticeship scheme under a company, I think the opportunities are massive.
That's exactly it, isn't it? Yeah, grasping the opportunities when they come along.
Yeah.
And I think you push to go down the degree route sometimes, and my children have done it, probably a lot like other parents' children have done it. Carries a lot of cost with that, a lot of burden. But you can get into an industry very, very early, be sponsored by your company, get a great education, get your qualifications, and be in a really good platform where you are debt free. And I think everyone sees sometimes construction as not the first point of where you want to go, but I think we can talk. It's been quite good for us, and I still enjoy it. Every day is different. Some days it's challenging, but it's good. So, what about you, Matt? What brought you into the industry?
Definitely a similar story to yourself and Dave. Didn't do well at school. It's a bit of a sober moment when you're opening them results, and then it's the harsh reality hits of, right, school's done, my friend, you're moving on, what are you going to do with your career? You're 16-year-old, you didn't really know anything that I wanted to do. Fortunately for me, I had a dad who owned an IT business, so I spent a year there. Realised that I'm only here because I've not done well at school and I've got no other opportunities, so it's, do I accept that I'm working here that I don't really want to do, and I'm only here because my dad runs the company, or do I make the decision to go out there and sort of try and make something on my own, and then if I fall flat and I need to come back, then at least I can say I've tried. I managed to get in at a construction company, which is a groundworks company, just sort of being a right-hand man to one of the directors, just day-to-day helping print out documents, just as any 16-year-old would really. Just sort of made an effort to be, if I had to be in at 8, I'd be in at 7. If I had to leave at 5, I'd leave at 6. Just any sort of indication I was willing to, do that bit more. I was worth that bit more investment, or have that bit more time, and it sort of did pay off after 6 months. I remember going out on site, I remember seeing the yellow tripods, pointing saying, what's that? Which is funny now, that's all I know. So I got put with an engineer. I was fortunate enough that the engineer I got put with was competent and had a lot of patience and time to train me. I mean, it's all well and good us as young apprentices being keen enough, but you've got the mentors have got to be willing to train them.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I was just basically a sponge. I absorbed everything that he wanted to teach me, was willing to teach me, which was luckily enough. I spent two and a half years with him, and then I ended up getting my own site as a site engineer, and just sort of went on from there. But definitely I always go back to that, without that mentor that I wouldn't really be anywhere, sort of, or I wouldn't be as far as I was. So I feel like I've just struck lucky with who.
Getting the knowledge into
it's just getting the knowledge.
Questions and
it's got to work both ways. You've got to be willing to learn, but you've got to have someone that's willing to teach you. And the company I was at was big on training up apprentices. So I've done 2 years at college and then carried on further education at uni, which was all funded by my employer, which was a big burden taken off me, 1 day a week. So it just afforded me a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I'd always think of the word. I'd always recommend anyone to go down an apprenticeship route.
I think it highlights what you're saying there is, you know, funny enough, we're having a conversation about my nephew the other week. He's in school this year and he's doing really well at school. He's a really bright lad. My brother-in-law's really anxious of what route he's going to take, and he actually wants him. My sister wants him to go probably to college and university is kind of the route she's picking, but he's saying no, I went that route, and he said I've done alright, but he's saying I want him to get into something and get under a company and get trained up and be able to actually physically, exactly what you're saying, you're outside training the job, being trained to do the job, but you're also getting that education side, whereas I'm sure we see it all the time in our industry, people who only go the education side, they come on sites and they often are a little bit out of touch of what actually happens on that job, rather than they know it inside out from a college, from a
point of view,
textbook point, but do they know what, you know, and I can't speak highly enough of what you're, you know, saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, well, it's certainly highlighted it, you know, we do have student visits. So we've took the students from ETC around the site, and I did mention that I didn't do. Asked me how I got into this. I told them exactly the same story. I didn't do well, and they were sort of taken back of right. We're being taken around.
While you've progressed.
You know, it was refreshing, and it was nice to be able to sort of prove that to them that I'm the site manager for this project, which is a really big project, but I didn't do well at school, and I think that sort of. You could tell by the reaction from some of the students that it was sort of a refreshing.
Well, it's very daunting, isn't it? You stand outside there and manage a massive multi-million-pound site, come from the background where you've come, got your education, learning, wanted to progress, and then you stand outside there and go, look, I've built that. That's a puffy chest down, mate.
It is.
Makes you feel proud, and that's why we're doing it.
And I think, you know, the other thing for me as well is, I could sit here for hours telling some funny stories about where I was, my parents would, about where I was going with my education, and my skill sets in where I am now with maths and English has come through my job rather than from school. So I was okay, but when you apply it to something that you can physically see, you know, how many bricks, how many are in a metre square, same with blocks. You know, how much is a drummer cable go on a piece of, you know, tray work? You know, it's a lot easier. And I fell into the thing of when I started doing programs, I'd do method statements.
Yeah.
And this is before, you know, you're not going to believe this, before we had computers, which is showing the age now. But you know, it was about writing and reading it back. You know, which, you know, I can write bids now. That's not from having a degree in English, you know, in any shape or form. It's just having exposure within the industry for someone saying, I want you to write about that. Having a look at it, you need to think about this, this and this. And, you know, I think, you know, that was before the days that now we could just Google or AI something and say, tell me this. So, you know, I've developed where I am. So yes, I've all been on courses to develop and improve our competencies and our skill sets, but, you know, being able to bring build, you know, into how you write something, how you count something, how you sum something up, you know, is great. I mean, you know, Andy, you can stand and look at something in a heap now and go, it's that, can't you? You know, and I think, you know, it's really important to understand that you can gain and improve on those, you know, those sourcing academic skills that.
Well, exactly. I mean, we all sit here with these in front of us, don't we? Laptops and phones. I had a trowel in my hand. I didn't even know what a laptop was or computer. So I've taken it on myself with a little bit of coaching by my wife, let's say, to understand and learn. Knew that this was going to be the technology on building sites, and you know, pushed myself to learn how to use them. And now I'm teaching the young generation how to use our apps and tools that we use on site to build. So it's a strange story really for me, but
So we've talked about the older generation now. What about you?
I'll let you go first. I can go first. So I left high school, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I went for an open day at Leeds City Printworks, Leeds City College Printworks campus. And I found an electrical installation course and I applied for that. So for my first 2 weeks at college, I was doing an electrical installation course, and I found out I couldn't go to uni with it. So I went to a career manager and I said I wanted to go into civil engineering, and I found a course where it opened up the world of engineering for me. So I did a T-level in engineering and manufacturing, which didn't really have anything to do with civil engineering, but it could help me progress to get into uni to do civil engineering. So I did that, came out with a merit from there, and I was looking for a degree apprenticeship, and I asked a family member who I knew worked for a civil engineering company, and he told me about Britcon, and I emailed Lee my CV. I got an email back saying I'll come in for a cuppa and a chat. I went in for a chat. He gave me the offer for the degree apprenticeship, and here I am now, halfway through my first year at uni, at Teesside Uni, doing my HNC, and then I will be progressing on to my level 5 and level 6, and hopefully come out with a bachelor's of engineering, and then hopefully progress on to my CEng, and that's me.
How you finding it?
Yeah, so far it's really good. I've especially with this job, I've learned a lot. Like, even you've been saying that stuff on this job you've never seen before, like CFA piling, and putting line and levelling prefabricated lift shafts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been eye-opening.
Yeah.
Well, my story basically, I'm very similar to quite a lot of the other people in the room. When I left school, I literally left with nothing, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. At which point I then decided to go on to do a joinery course, and I thought, no, that's not for me. I tried a couple of other things, like a couple of multi-skill things, and I couldn't get away with any of them. Then I started playing with a bit of wiring with my uncle, who was an electrician, and he taught me a few bits and bobs here and there. And I thought, that's something I want to pursue. But due to my grade levels, I couldn't get onto the electrical course that I wanted, so I had to go the long route round, do my level 1, and then be able to progress through. Now, I managed to start my electrical apprenticeship with Redcar and Clayton College. I was there about 3.5 years, I think. And it was where I met a lot of people from Britcon as well, and Mayville, and of which I basically, towards the end of that 3.5 years, I realised that I wanted a bit more exposure to the full-on construction industry, working alongside people like they're in the room now. I was outside one day, I bumped into a couple of the lads who worked for us. Ray and Richie.
Ray and Richie, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sounds like two gangs.
Yeah, Ray and Richie. And I bumped into them, I just got chatting, and I kind of just asked if there was any possibility of a bit of work experience and things like that. At which I think they must have come back to you and had a conversation. And my manager at Redcar College was good enough, and the college was understanding enough to say, we're more than welcome, like you're more than welcome to go and see what you think, and just let us know, because they were understanding that at the end of the day it is another opportunity for me to move forward. And yeah, I mean, I can't thank them enough for what they did and the vital things I learned while I was there. I mean, it was major exposure in loads of different types of industries and situations, which will help me through life, I can tell you that now. But yeah, I then, after that work experience, I come and saw you and asked you for a job. And I mean, Dave was good enough. I didn't have a lot of experience working on sites and things like that, and Dave was good enough to take a bit of a punt, let's say. And yeah, he took me on, and we're a year on from that now, and I'm not looking back. I'm not looking back. Got a lot to thank him for.
But I think it goes back to something that we've already mentioned is the keenness and hard working. And you know, for somebody who was working in the college as the apprentice at the college under the estates team, then saw one of the new builds that we were working on and said, can I come and do some work with you lads? That to me came across that you were keen and you wanted to work and progress and get out there. Obviously we didn't just pinch you straight off college. We actually went and had conversations with them, and they were keen for you to get out there as well in the big wide world and come and work with us. So and you've not looked back at me. So
I must say, going from where I was, I do wish that I had something to start with. With it being electrical, I did need some some maths and English things for my apprenticeship, but I did that on night courses and stuff like that, and that's how I managed to get it. Was when I was 18. I started when I was 19. Was when I started the apprenticeship. I'm now 23. And yeah, I mean, thanks to it all, I mean, me looking now, I'm about to go for my AM2 in probably the end of this year, I think. There's a long booking list at the minute for it. So, I mean, me and my partner have just bought our first house and things like that, so it kind of shows that where I was, I had no idea really where I was going to end up. And now at the age of 23, I've got a good potential ahead of me, and things are going the right way, aren't they? I mean,
I think from what you said there, though, I would never look back. No. My thing to anyone would be, don't look back and think, I wish I'd stuck in at school and got maths and English. If you didn't get your maths and English, you didn't get it, did you?
Well, every day is a school day though, which is construction, that's the thing. I mean,
none of us know everything.
So I mean, it's the work environment. We work all over the country, some of us, you don't have to, but you get into different industries and schools, colleges, universities, different environments, and like I say, it's, I'm going to say it's not boring, is it?
No, I think it's about what you're going to do, look forward, what you're going to do to get to where you want to be, rather than worrying about, I wish I'd done the maths and English. That would be my, but that's what you've done, and that's what I wouldn't dwell on. I wish. I look forward, and that's what you're doing. You're doing the right thing, and that would be my advice to anyone.
So there's quite a few men around the table, and there's a lady Kirsty. Tell us a little bit about your journey then, because obviously we've seen ourselves, having to change massively. We've seen that in our business where we're becoming more of a diverse business, a lot more women are wanting to come in the industry. It has been very male orientated for a period of time, but I think that's starting to change, and along that continue. So what about your journey then, Kirsty?
A bit different to everyone else's, to be honest. Same again, left school 16. Not sure what to do at all. Did a bit of research into apprenticeships, and I started as an apprentice estimator at Protherm, which is a ventilation company. So I sat down, I learnt the drawings, did the takeoffs, priced jobs, and won some jobs as well along the way. And then, so alongside that, first I did a level 3 BTEC at Middlesbrough College in construction and the built environment. And then that continued on to an HNC at Hartlepool College, and then just started these jobs that I won. I started running them as well, but then unfortunately in the March 2023 the company went into liquidation, so I was made redundant. So I was a bit stuck, like, what do I do here? So at the time I had a couple of jobs on for Mayville, so I thought, I'll give it a chance. I had a bit of a ring round. He said, come in, we'll have a chat. So we sat down. I said, these are all the skills that I've learned from the ventilation point of view. And I said, well, if you come in, you're going to have to learn the full mechanical side. So I did. I started at Mayville, learned all the mechanical side. You've got all the much more subcontractors, and just with all the lads as well. They've all been really supportive, and Mayville have been supporting me through at Teesside Uni. Been doing my building services engineering degree. I'm in my final year now, graduating in July, so looking forward to that, and I'm just working full time, like university 1 day a week and working a full time it is difficult, but like we're saying, hard work pays off, doesn't it?
And we've all had to do it, you know, everyone thinks that, you know, we've come in this industry and, you know, we've just been lucky, you know, stood behind a particular door, but, you know, I used to one day at college/university and a night, and getting back from, you know, Huddersfield to Sheffield or Nottingham to Sheffield or Manchester or North East. I mean, I did a period working in Durham, and to get back that night after you have to leave work a little bit earlier, and then, you know, you'd be there sat doing your coursework on a weekend, and trying to get a balance of having a lifestyle as well. But, you know, it's all had to be done by all of us, you know, doing assessments, essays, and you know, presentations, you know, tracing paper for drawing stuff. You wonder what that is now, probably, but, you know, all of those kind of things is, you know, we've all had to do it, and I think the key thing that we're hearing generally around the table is you know, hard work, drive, brave enough just to ask someone, is there a chance of an opportunity here? And I think, you know, you could say that probably of all the people that have come through to where we all are now and where we all will go.
I think
It's commendable, by the way,
to have Kirsty, and she's now training up gradually. She gets more things, as many things to do off me with the electrical side as she does off the mechanical side, and she's learning both sides of the business to be able to manage and in a way that we can go out on the sites and support all of the engineers out there and manage them from a technical point of view. And one of the things, I suppose it was working with yourselves at Britcon, we had Amy, we had Kirsty, we took her on, and you were doing your building services, but predominantly you've done ventilation, so it was kind of as if, right, well, she's just doing the mechanical side of the company, but what we've working with yourselves and another company is we've met Amy Pierce, who we think she's amazing at her job, brilliant. She knows such a wide spectrum of the construction industry and what we do, and we've now been having chats with Kirsty and saying we feel, and we know she can do it, and she's getting better and better all the time, is become mechanical and electrical technical manager, that and into that role of supporting and going out to site meetings and doing all the design team meetings that you go to, don't you? So, and we're kind of now following in the footsteps of, but the company's doing that, and I think, you know, from an apprenticeship point of view, that women shouldn't, or young girls shouldn't be frightened leaving school to think, well, I can't go and work at them companies because there's no such roles. Well, there definitely is roles, and there definitely, you know,
sit equally around the table with us and probably know more knowledgeable.
I mean, we've got engineers, we've got, you know, buyers, we've got QSs, quantity surveyors, we've got design managers, you know, our finance director, you know, is a woman and lady, you know, it's female, it's really great that you can see where you can go with it in, you know, in any field. I mean, look, it's a dirty, damp day today, and, you know, we all want to be at home, you know, come up to the radiator or fires, but it is great.
It's the diversity as well of the industry, isn't it? You can start off like a couple of people said around the table, I started doing this and then wanting to go there. Once you get yourself established and feel for the industry and think, oh, actually, I want to go that direction, I want to be an engineer, or I want to be a project manager, a contracts director even, you know, or down a different electrician, whatever trades, let's say, it's just getting into the industry, isn't it?
I'd definitely say I'd definitely say it's a good industry for that. There's just that you can start there where you can branch off to. It's never ending really. There definitely is some opportunities.
I think the industry's a lot more, from when I started, a lot more technical. There's a lot more health and safety involved, and it's all good things because we've got a lot less accidents and technically. It is going to be more technical because of for instance, when I first started, it was a light, and if you wanted it to dim, you had a little turning knob over it. And turning it down. Now we have lighting so diverse and how it works from apps and from different things, you know, and it's the same with the whole industry, and you know, then from it becoming a lot more technical, we've got a lot more roles out there.
I mean, I was talking to a client yesterday, just taking receipt of their new headquarters, and every single light thing has got an IP address.
Yeah.
You know, you just think to yourself, once upon a time it was just a switch. You know, where we are now with digital transformation in the industry, it's changed so much, but for the better in a lot of ways. I think, you know, there was challenges around emails. You know, once upon a time we need a letter. To take a couple of days into to get there.
The facts came through, didn't it? Facts.
But you know where we are with digitisation now. You know, we're doing markups on iPads and tablets and.
Well, you think of my position as well. Look, I can sit in one of our offices, Wakefield, Scunthorpe, wherever it may be. I can open my laptop and know what each individual and what the site looks like through our apps or through photos that have been uploaded, through site diaries that we're doing on different platforms. It's, you know, and I can help manage sites remotely as well. It's
and I guess it'd be kind of remiss of us not to mention kind of how we've all got into this relationship and how it's been able to be collaborative, help develop people in both our businesses, and you know that probably wouldn't have been possible without us pricing, you know, work for ETC as we started Britcon. And you know, when we look at, I think we're on our 8th project now, and you're probably similar. You've probably done more, to be fair.
We've done little, you know, little rooms or just supplies or whatever. But you know, it's quite funny. I've been to Redcar today, Redcar Cleaning College, and walked around with Miles and to review some works required, and the rooms we went in, I said, we did this room, and then went to another, and then we walked out, we went into the new well building, and then we went round, and there's clean energy, you know, so
I mean, for us it's been fantastic because we've been able to set up an office in the northeast, a great supply chain to work with us, share knowledge, to share knowledge. You know, the ETC has given us a massive platform as we sit here with a training facility that's going to be a national representation, you know, for both the northeast and you know, the UK, and it's allowed us to create a region, employ local people, give opportunity with, you know, apprenticeship trainees, and obviously give something back to the college with what we're doing. You're looking for your next apprenticeship,
new skills, that's going to create
new facilities, more local. You know, we've got, you know, our people that are now passing on their knowledge and sharing knowledge of how we're constructing a new training facility, and you know, it's a really, you know, great story to write, really, and there's been a great opportunity for us to do that. So I guess if I was saying to 3/4 of you now, what questions would you ask of us that we're slightly older? what kind of things would you ask us, you know, today?
Bearing in mind, it was 40 years ago when I went to my apprenticeship. I might not remember anything.
Well, I'm not sure about questions, but just touching on what Dave said about when you were at Redcar College, you were saying we did that. I think that's one of the good things about the construction industry, how rewarding it is. Like being able to make an impact on your community. Like for example, Matty, you live round corner from here. You'll be driving past here quite a bit, I imagine.
Yeah.
You'll always be saying, "I built that," and it's like me. Hopefully in the future, driving through Leeds, saying, "I built that."
Yeah.
So I just think that's one of the greatest things about the construction industry at the minute.
Nick will know this, I think, of my kids when the other kids in the car driving along and they go, "Oh, here we go, let's start." I built that.
There's a job I still go past now on the M60 when we're going to the airport and go, I built that, not again, you know, and they're in the 20s now, but
still
you know, it's still time, haven't you? Now, you're right, it creates flagships. The thing is when you get older as well, you see those buildings that you once built being knocked down or refurbished. That's the problem now, isn't it?
That's why I get Jacob.
Well, we hope not.
But it's true, isn't it? It's like, you know, some of the college work we've done in, you know, more frequently than what we've been in with ETC, but other projects we've been involved in, we built that, and probably different companies and come back and done refurbishment. I've been fortunate not to knock down a building I've built yet. But,
No, they fell down.
So any questions? Any other questions you think you've got, or observations? Or?
I just think the only thing I would ask is there any, have you, like collectively, have you got any advice for all of us really of things you would advise doing or not doing, or do you know areas to explore more than any? Or
Dave, do you want to start off that one?
Really?
I think
Please.
from my point of view, I remember being 22, something around there, and all the lads who I worked with at Maidville, they were slightly older than me, but they were still in the 20s, and at the time there was the big house bashing, domestic housing right across the country, and big housing estates were being built, and these electrical companies that were just going, rewire a house in a day and gone, and it was teams of 2 electricians and a young lad, and virtually, I'm going to say out of the 10 hour, with probably 5 of them left to go house bashing, as we call it. And I remember speaking to them, and they're like, yep, we're all on this big money. We do a house a day till Thursday, and then we do snagging on Friday for the ones. And it was never for me. I never wanted to do housing. I always wanted to be in the commercial industry anyway. And it might not be for everyone this, but I was always very loyal to, I've only ever worked at Maple, and I wouldn't be sat where I am now as director and owner of Maple without having that loyalty and hard work, because loyalty is nothing if you don't work hard. So I had to work hard to get up the ladder, further up, and was a contracts manager under the previous owners, and I was kind of when they were looking to sell, the next person in line really. So me and Lee, and me and Lee, unfortunately, you can't have a management buyout and give it to all. Well, you probably could give it to all, sell it to every member of the company, but one day I'm going to be in a position that I'm going to want to pack in, and I sincerely hope that there's 1 or 2 of the electrical lads that I bring through that stay with us for the whole time and go, I want to be that lad that has this opportunity to buy in now and build on the company more so than where you're at now. And that would be my advice, but that's what worked for me. It might not be for everyone, but hard work is certainly the biggest thing I'll ever say. Hard work is by far better than any education you could have. In private education, you're going right to the university and doing your degree and masters and everything. Hard work will prevail over any of that.
Andy, what about you? How would you?
Yeah, no, exactly a little bit. What Dave was saying earlier, I mean, it's hard work, communication, ask questions, learn and progress really, isn't it? And you'll find your own way once you start doing that. You ask questions about things you probably don't know anything about and think, well, I'm interested in that. And you'll take whatever route it guides you through really. That's how I find it. But like I say, just hard work and determination, wanting to achieve, be proud of what you do, make sure you're doing it properly, safely, and the quality's there and efficiently. That's what it's about. It's not about efficiency in programme and stuff. It's not about bushing, it's doing it properly first time. So you don't have to go back to it. You're not defects, you're not got snagging.
And I relate to all of those things. I think you said it earlier on, Andy. Every day is a school day. You should never be afraid to ask questions. I've been fortunate as my career's progressed to be in meetings with big corporate people, and you're thinking, I don't know that. Shall I ask that question? And sometimes you've got to say, I'll leave it for that bit, but I'll speak to my colleague when I get outside, but I want to know. And I've seen it sometimes where some people just think, they just dive into it, think they know it, but sometimes you just got to know when to ask the right questions at the right time. But you'll ask them all the way through your career. Hard work is without question, and I think talk about you doing a night shift. Some of our other colleagues that are coming through helping with all of that. I mean, I used to go and work Saturdays and Sundays to get time and a third, because I needed the money. If I weren't a ganger, then I was time and a third doing something else. And I think all of that hard work. But I think the big thing out of everything that sometimes construction is seen as a failure if you go into that, if you've not got into some high skilled, high qualified job. And don't get me wrong, there's some excellent jobs out there, and probably your children and our children have gone and progressed different careers and benefit from that. But I think there's always the thing is believe you can push yourself wherever you want to go. Because I used to describe it as running and get to the next lamppost and see if I could carry on doing it. And as I said earlier, I never thought that I would get to where I am, but it was I'm going to take that opportunity. If I don't know that bit, I'm going to ask somebody or learn something. And I guess the internet's there a little bit more to help with that now, and AI and such forth. But I think inquisitiveness and being able to think I can go further. I can do. I want Dave's job in 10 years' time. It's your ambition's there. It's hard work, graft. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. Sometimes you're better staying with your employer for a long time. Others, dare I say, you have to move on because that position's not there. And we're talking about succession planning now, and where we're the next people like you're talking about, Dave, our next generation that's going to take our positions in years to come. And if you're in the right company like a Mayville or a Britcon, you can see that. You can see where we're growing with the North region. The opportunity is there. Sometimes you don't see that in some of the larger organisations, dare I say, and others is that that loyalty you can see where where you're going to benefit. And
and them benefits aren't just restricted to work though, Nick, are they? The benefits are as going home one evening and having a nice meal, going out for a pint. I've got a nice car, I've got a nice house, and looking after your family as well.
Yeah, I mean they're all important milestones. Like you've just bought your first house. It's stand there on the driveway or whatever, and you go, do you know what? This is mine. I've chosen a career path that's given me the reward for this. What's next?
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that. I got a picture sent to me the other day, and they've just put all the windows in, they've just put the roof on. Now, who got goosebumps? I was like, whoa, big step, and it is. But taking that risk, it is a bit of a risk towards the end of your apprenticeship, but you just need to be confident that you are going to put the work in, you are going to get yourself through the end of that apprenticeship, and you are going to come out the other side of it, and you are going to do well. Because it's a bit of pressure and it's motivation at the same time, or it is for me anyway. Everybody works.
And some days you will have dark days. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to do my apprenticeship. I'm trying to do my degree. I'm working, but I did it on day block release, and being able to have the benefit of being able to physically see it on site, besides just a textbook or some kind of assessment assignment we did collectively. Be able to do that on site, understanding the site and seeing the site.
We've talked about this today, haven't we, about bringing apprentices out onto site so they can view and ask questions of the tradesmen and see what it actually looks like on site, just to give them a bit of a...
That's a bit of engagement, isn't it?
Yeah, it's watching it go from a drawing to a full building.
So we discussed with Ian today, we'll probably put a little bit of something together for the bricklaying apprentices, give them a few drawings and say, well, here's all the drawings you need. Can you tell me how many blocks we've wanted on this project and how much more do we need? See what you think, and we'll view it and help you along the way and say, well, you've done that calculation wrong, or it should be this, or you've missed the wall out there, just as something to give them a bit of a start, something to look at, because they can see the progression on the building now and across the road, so it might be stuff like that helps the apprentices along.
That visual learnership will help all it.
Yeah.
I think as an employer and when you look at apprentices, obviously there's a lot of opportunities for them, but if you can be that most keen lad in the group, that stands out massive to me. The one, if you're keen and you jump to the front and say, Andy, I can tell you how many blocks that is. I do that. You take notes straight away and go,
keep an eye on that one.
Keep an eye on that,
absolutely.
Because he he's jumping out from the crowd and that, and he's saying, yeah, I can do that. So I think the keenness and wanting to learn, willingness, yeah, definitely.
There's something I was going to say as well, is that not everybody gets everything right first time.
No, not at all.
We've all made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.
You only learn by
but
mistakes.
that's the only way that you learn. It is as long as you've got a good team around you that can support you and show you the way. I mean, there's plenty of times I ring you, but it's brilliant having a good supportive team around you. And I'm sure, like you say, with Britcon yourselves, I'm sure you are exactly the same.
Yeah, and I wondered what would keep me driving when I get to my tender age now. But seeing the younger generation come through different aspects of qualification and experience, to see people so interested in wanting to move forward in the industry and being brave enough to ask a friend, see somebody in a car park if that sounds right, somebody who that drive and ambition, and that confidence to go and ask that question, and where that can take you is the sky's the limit, really. And I think everyone's a good example of that, you said earlier on. I mean, I'd love to talk about this all night. It's brilliant, and I appreciate we all want homes to go to as well. So I'd just like to say thank you to Naval and to my colleagues at Britcon for us having this interesting conversation. I hope that from what when we play this back, that it gives inspiration to others. That feel that I'm a bit lost, or is this industry for me?
Yeah. Whether
it be electrician, mechanical, plumbing, bricklayer, joiner, anything is possible from starting in that good grounding, and you can work all that way to have successful businesses or successful job roles. It's there. So thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.